At the end of this upcoming season, Brad Marchand's contract will expire. A lot of talk this offseason, though, has only been around what the Bruins are going to do with Jeremy Swayman. Not enough attention has been put on towards the possibility and most probable extension of the Boston Bruins, which is captain Brad Marchand. In this video, I'm going to break down the future Brad Marchand extension. I will go through the past, the present, and try and predict the future. If you like what I said so far, please click that like button and let YouTube know that you like my Bruins content, and let's jump into it. Brad Marchand has been in the league since 2009-10 season and was drafted in 2006 by the Boston Bruins, 71st overall. In his first season with the Bruins, he only played 20 games and only registered 1 assist. His second season was a different story, as his average ice time jumped from 11 minutes a game to 13 minutes a game. He scored 21 goals and tallied 20 assists for 41 points. He played every situation, the power play and the penalty kill. He scored 5 shorthanded goals that season, and little did we know that that was the start of something special for Brad Marchand. He now has 36 shorthanded goals in his career, which is first all time for the Boston Bruins in their history. Rick Middleton is second on that list with 25. Before Marchand's career is over, he is going to be well over 40, making it almost unbeatable for future Bruins. Marchand is 9th all time with the Bruins for power play goals as well, with 79 in his career. Through the 2007 season to 2011 season, Marchand cap hit was only $822K per year. So after the 2011 season, where the Bruins won the cup and Marchand scored 41 points, including breaking out and being a game changer during that 2011 playoff run, he signed a 2-year deal with the Bruins for $2.5 million per season, and for the next 2 seasons, he scored 55 points in his first year of the deal and was playing in a line with Patrice Bergeron, who we now know they would develop some of the best chemistry we have ever seen in Boston Bruins history. The team got lucky with respects to his contract the next year because there was a lockout, and Marchand was only able to play 45 games, only getting 36 points. He also got suspended for 5 games that season for a very low hit on Sammy Salo. This was his second suspension in a 2-year span that would start a trend of Marchand at least missing 5 games each season for stupid plays. At the end of that season, most players would be in for a huge raise, but not Marchand. He got a raise, but not a big one. He would sign a 4-year deal worth $4.5 million per season average. The lockout and his tendency to get suspended played a part into that deal not being a home run. It's still a great contract, but back then, the rest of the league looked at Marchand as a dangerous player to play against because he might hurt you, instead of a dangerous player to play against because of his two-way game and being an offensive threat. The next 4 years, he would solidify himself as one of the best left wingers in the league and score over 30 goals twice, and in the final year, got 85 points. Needless to say, the Bruins had one of the best value deals in the league with Brad Marchand. He played in every situation and scored big goals when the team needed it. The issue was he was still getting suspended a lot and missing at least 5 games per year or more each season. Also, during that time, in 2015 and in 2016, the Boston Bruins failed to make the playoffs in consecutive seasons. One could say if Marchand doesn't get suspended for 5 games in 2015, the Bruins make the playoffs that season. Marchand was a key offensive weapon, and the Bruins tied the Red Wings 4 points that year, but the Red Wings made the playoffs and the Bruins didn't. Those 2 seasons also cost then coach Claude Julien his job. The Bruins promoted then assistant coach Bruce Cassidy to head coach and fired Claude Julien. During the 2015 NHL entry draft, there were rumors that the Boston Bruins thought about trading him because they were tired of his suspensions and antics on the ice. I've never been able to substantiate those rumors, but knowing the Bruins organization like I do, I wouldn't doubt it. The Bruins have a history of moving on from players they feel do not fit their culture in Boston or are causing too many issues. Insert Tyler Seguin and supposedly Joe Thornton here. Boston Bruins felt they couldn't win with Joe, and Tyler, well, I think we all know what he did. At the end of this deal, Marchand would go on and take an 8-year deal with an average cap hit of $6.13 million, which expires at the end of this season. That was only a raise of about $2 million per from the last deal, and at the time was considered a very team-friendly deal. You could easily say the Bruins have had the best value contract with Marchand throughout his whole career. Marchand got 100 points in the 2018-19 season and is known as one of the elite players in the league. He played in the NHL All-Star Game in 2017 and 18, named first All-Star team in 2017 and 21, along with being named second All-Star team in 2019 and 2020. Team Canada recently named him as one of their first choices for the Four Nations Cup coming up this season. He is coming off 2 67-point seasons, but he also played a different game than we're used to seeing him play. He has been very disciplined, and after the licking incident in 2018, admitted he needs to cut that shit out. And he has. Marchand hasn't been suspended since 2022, and I know that doesn't seem like a long time, but in Marchand years, It's huge. He has been fine since then, but hasn't cost the team any games. He is that important to this hockey club that when he gets suspended and misses games that aren't due to injury, I feel he costs his team wins. The fact that the Boston Bruins named him captain says a lot on how the team views him and his teammates viewed him compared to the other fan bases around the league. He is very well respected by the players around the league, and whenever there's a vote for the toughest player to play against, he's usually at the top of the list. So what is he going to get on this new deal? Marchand is coming off 2 67-point seasons, and last year's playoffs, he didn't look like himself, especially after his concussion. He is 36 years old, and most players at his age or from his draft class have either retired or are about to retire. Marchand is 71 points away from 1,000, and if he gets it this season, it would be a huge accomplishment for his career. Marchand's point production is worthy of a top 6 role, and if he was still a young, would warrant a huge long-term deal. It's probably possible, but I have to ask myself, do the Bruins actually sign him to a long-term extension before the season starts? Or do they let the season play out and then take it from there? Marchand's career earnings are $67 million, which is not chump change, and he historically has been on a team-friendly deal his entire career. If he is looking for a long-term deal, though, history is not on his side in Boston. Let's take a look at 2 prime examples of what the Bruins have done in the past with their aging stars. When Patrice Bergeron's long-term deal expired in 2022, the Bruins re-signed him to a 1-year deal. Now, a lot of people thought that would happen because he was hinting at retirement, which I'm sure played into it. Bergeron signed a 1-year deal with a base salary of $1.5 million with a $1 million signing bonus, giving him a cap hit of $2.5 million. The reason Bergeron took $1.5 million with a signing bonus is because he was over 35 years old. A player who is over 35 years old can have a signing bonus attached to his contract that exempts him from escrow payment. It still counts towards the cap, though, in the year he receives the payment. If the Bruins gave him a performance bonus contract like they did with David Krejci when they re-signed him the last time, it would have counted towards his cap the following season because he's 35 years old plus. You can only do that with players 35 years older. The year Krejci played, his cap hit was only $1 million. His performance bonus, though, was $2.5 million, and it was a 1-year deal after a long-term deal with the Bruins. It is a new trend in the NHL to sign these 35-plus-year-old players to 1-year deals with performance bonuses and let that money hit the cap the following season. Zdeno Chara is a prime example of the Bruins signing him to consecutive 1-year deals after his long-year deal took him past 35. In fact, his last long-term deal with the Bruins was when he was 34, which he signed a 5-year, $7.5 million AAV deal with the Boston Bruins. When that expired, though, the Bruins only would sign him to 1-year deals. I'm still in the camp that Chara played too long in the NHL, and his last couple of years, he was a shell of his former self. He will go down as one of the best defensemen to ever play for the Boston Bruins. But the Bruins, I feel, were right to let him go. Just like I think the Tampa Bay Lightning made the right decision this offseason and let Stamkos walk and not re-sign him to that multi-year $8 million a season contract. Stamkos scored 40 goals last season, but he's 34, and studies have shown that the decline in hockey players at the age of 35 is steep. Stamkos may very well have an amazing season in Nashville this upcoming year, but the odds of him keeping a 40-goal pace for the next couple years and living up to that $8 million AAV a year contract are very slim. My guess is that the Boston Bruins offer Marchand a 1-year deal at around $5 million AAV with bonuses, or a multi-year deal at a low AAV, like $3 or $4 million per for 2 or 3-year terms, which may be some bonuses attached though. I don't expect Marchand to finally get that big AAV contract, especially at his age, given the history of players at his age in Boston. Both sides want to make a deal, and both sides want to be in a partnership for the rest of Marchand's career. I think last season he was dealing with some injury issues, and in the playoffs he suffered a concussion, but I think he'll be ready to go for training camp this season. Sweeney was quoted as saying this offseason, "Yeah, we're going to get Brad. He's learning patience as the captain as well. So he has to learn there's some ducks in a row in terms of adding to our group and how he wants to add to that. And those guys that don't have contracts up ahead, eventually he'll extend here. He'll be a lifelong Bruin. That's what we should do. But we'll check that box." What I took from this is something that the Bruins organization always promotes. If you play for the Bruins, you will always be a lifelong Bruin. It doesn't mean the Bruins are going to offer him a huge long-term deal, though. In fact, I hope they don't, because I wouldn't. I wouldn't sign him to anything over 2 years, or have an understanding with him that every season he still has it, they sign him to a 1-year deal with bonuses until he's ready to retire. Players don't want to hear that. This is still a business after all. I understand that Marchand has always taken the team deal. There's always been circumstances for that. And over his career, Bruins have stood up for him throughout all of his antics and suspensions. I don't expect Marchand to get a raise from his current AAV because I don't think the team should ever pay a player for their past performance. If Sweeney rolled out the red carpet for him, I would be shocked because he's never done it before, and he's been willing to walk away from players like Chara and Torrey Krug, no problem. Chara was the Bruins captain at the time. Before you say the Bruins didn't offer Chara a contract before he left for Washington like his Instagram post kind of suggested, that's not true. They did, but he didn't like it, and they wanted to change his role on the team as well, and Chara didn't like that either. either, so he left. This happens a lot in players' careers when their mind thinks they can do more than their body will let them. The smart move for the Bruins would be to let Marchand play out his season with the knowledge that both parties will get a deal done before the season ends or right after. I think you need to see how he handles the upcoming season and what happens to his point totals and play. Marchand is one of the best players in the league, but he's also at the tail end of his career, and that can't be overlooked. He isn't over the hill, and if Father Time isn't calling him, it would be a huge mistake to give him a Stamkos type deal. The way Marchand plays the game is hard on a player's body, but only the person that knows how he feels and how his body feels is Marchand. I feel Marchand is a very honest player and honest person, and he knows that the way he plays the game, it's going to be tough for him to be playing that still at 40. I know one thing, I would never want to see him in any other jersey than a Boston Bruins jersey. In the end, I think he will 100% sign with the Bruins. What the term and contract look like is anybody's guess. Let me know in the comments what you think Marchand's deal will look like. That's a wrap on today's video. To stay up to date on all the news surrounding the Boston Bruins, please subscribe and drop me a like. If the news breaks surrounding the Boston Bruins, be sure to check out the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, thank you, and I'll see you next time.